Okay, people, I'm ugly old Judy. And before I go to my grave, I'm going to share my knowledge that I have in ceramics, mold making, all of it. Okay, now I work with, I like these bamboo brushes. And if you just get the large and the medium and the small, that's all you really need. I like this little baby one because I can make little shorter strokes with it, and sometimes I want that. And the very last step on any of your design work is going to be the lines. And this is a number 9 liner. And I will get you a list of all these things. Now remember, this is your eraser. You know what that is if you've been playing with ceramics. And if you ever have to take out a spot where you've painted, if I mean, you can remove paint with it. But if you ever rub a hard spot, all you got to do is take that wet sponge and go dip it into some dust from some cleaning you've done on ceramics in the clay dust. Dab that on there and let it dry, and you'll never even know what happened. Okay, so we're going to start this pattern, which happens to be the let's see if my purple's going to go with this, or well, it needs to. Okay, it's gotten kind of gelled. So I'm going to take some, put it in a cup. Add some water. And dang it, here we go. Alrighty. So, to start off your pattern, you're going to be looking at something that a shape for your grapes that's something like this. You see how much territory I've taken up with that? Don't get panicky about thinking that you have to have anything precise, because that is not true. You can turn out some of the most beautiful work, and made all kinds of mistakes. Oh, pooh, my brush just fell apart. So I get to re-glue that one. Okay, give me another one. When you're working with these bamboo brushes, before you ever start to work, dab them down in your water and just kind of leave them sloppy, because that's almost the way you're going to be using them. Alright, I got me enough purple that I can work with. I'm going to start out. Now I want my paint sloppy. I don't want it as thick as it comes in the bottle. And I'm going to start out by making like that. All I did was twist my brush. And as you twist, you can kind of see the pattern of grapes. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because a cluster of grapes is never perfect. Okay. I think I want my cluster just a little bit bigger. Okay, and then just leave it. Now when I'm getting ready to change colors, I just squeeze out the paint on my paper towel before I stick it in the water, and that way my water lasts longer. I need another paper towel. Slop that one up pretty fast. Okay, Don't worry that you've only done one coat. You just wait and see. It's going to happen. Alright. Now, Regency purple is just a little bit lighter color. And I'm going to put a little bit of that into a cup. And I don't need much. Just a little dribble. Okay, I'm going to use the same brush. Now, when I clean it out, I'm going to pound it on the bottom. Get out all the water you can without squeezing it. Okay? And then mix it into your paint. You're going to be thinning your paint down. That's what the whole idea is. Now, on each of our grapes, about the top half of each grape, I'm going to give it some Regency. Just kind of lightened it up right there. And then I don't have to do every one of them. Just part of them. Just kind of an accent. Okay, that's it. That's all. Alright, now I'm going to go to deep purple. And the deep purple is going to start forming our shadow on the bottom of our grapes. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in the cup. And you don't really need much of that. Come on. Booger. Alrighty. Okay, now I'm going to use the same brush. Just going to use the tip of it. Okay, and I'll rake off what I can, but I'm not going to squeeze the brush because I want this thing down a little bit. And then just sit there and work it up into your color. I roll the brush as it's coming out and bring it down to kind of a point. And you see that? And just use the tip of my brush to come along and add bottoms to my grapes. Just like that. And you have to visualize where your grapes are going to be. Some of them are going to be over the top of the others, so this won't all show in all of them. Okay, so this one is going to show through, and that one I'm going to have to show through. A little bit on that one. There. Doesn't look like much, does it? Okay, I'm going to squeeze some of this back into my bottle. I'm a great saver of paint. Stuff's too expensive to mess around with it. Okay. Alrighty. Now, what was it I put on the top there? Okay. Now I want to take my rose, here it is, and I'm going to use such a tiny bit of that. I'm just going to put it, I'm going to be a bad, bad girl and put it in the cap. And now I'm going to use my small bamboo brush. I want to wet it, shake off the water, but don't squeeze it. Mix it into my paint. And now I'm going to add like tiny little lines at the bottom of my grapes. Not much of a big deal at all. And see, some of my grapes are going to be hidden behind, so they're not getting it. Just that little bit of color. That's it. Now, I'm going to take white and we're going to add our splash of light. So we imagine that our cluster of grapes has light coming from about here. not hitting the very tops of your grapes, but kind of hitting the top half of your grapes. So I'm going to get some white here. Okay. And all I need is my small brush for this. Alright. Now, I want it a little bit drier, I think. Alright. I'm not going to go on the top. I'm kind of going to go in the middle of my highlight there. Just little spots. And of course these are hidden behind other grapes, so I'm just going to kind of give it a little so that you can see it's there. You're hidden behind, you're hidden behind. So I'm going to just add a little bit of white, kind of in the middle of my grape, so that you know it caught the light. Alrighty. Now see, some of them are already dry, and I'll give it kind of a second coat there. Okay, that's it. Now we go to our leaves. And our foundation on our leaves is an avocado. I go through so much avocado, I just get it in the pint. And I'm going to use, I guess I'm going to use the medium brush. Alright, now I did squeeze out the water in this one, but I didn't squeeze tight. Now dip half of the bristles up to about like that in the water, and then into your color. Okay, now we're going to make leaves, if you'll notice on this one, kind of coming around the top of our cluster of grapes and then bordering around the side. So what we're going to do is like a heart. You see that? Alright. Now, I keep dipping my brush because I have to have it flowing. I can't run dry. Now take your heart on out, back in, out, in. If your brush starts dragging, it looks ugly. Dip it in water, then in your paint. Alright, now I finished my leaf by coming down and doing, and you see that. Alright, now I'm going to do another leaf right here. Just do a heart, and then take that heart out, back in, dip again, and then finish your leaf out at the bottom. Alright, keep dipping your brush back in the water before you go back for your paint. Now I'm going to do another leaf here, but kind of overlapping. Okay, I go out, in, out, in. So now we're going over our grapes. And then finish your leaf kind of in the center. Alrighty. Okay, dip my brush again, dip into my paint. Then we'll come in here and kind of skip down a little bit. Out, out, in. Finish my leaf down the center. I'm going to put one kind of across right here on my heart. Out, in, out. You notice I'm going over the edge of my plate. That's okay. Take it out there. And then finish my leaf. Alrighty. Now, that's enough. Okay, I'm going to squeeze the paint out of my brush, throw it in the water, and close up my paint. Because now I'm going to go to forest green. Now the forest green is going to show the shadow side. Remember, our light is coming from here. So we're going to have a shadow side and a shadow bottom to our leaves. And then, of course, we're going to pretend that they're not exactly flat. Okay, so the same brush, the medium brush. Alright, now into the water, let it drip. Shake off the excess. I get paint to where it's doing this. Alright, now all I want to do is keep it from dripping. No more than that. So we're going to come down half of our leaf. Okay, just did half of it. Then we're going to pretend we're doing the bottom of this side. So that's the shaded side of the leaf and the shaded side of the bottom of this one where it branches out to the side. Okay, same thing here. Just no biggie. Okay, my light's over there. I think I screwed up here just a little bit. Alright, now our light, remember, is up here, so our dark side is here, and I'm going to say here. Okay, now here's our light, so we're going to be on the dark side on here instead of up there. And that's all. Now we're going to go from medium green to do some real highlighting where the light is hitting the leaf. I'll put some of this in a cup because I'm going to make a sloppy mess. And here's the consistency I like my paint. See how it runs? Okay. Same brush. And I've got paint clear up the handle on this thing. Okay, I'm raking off more of the moisture on this because this is just a little bit thinner. But this is what I want. I want sloppiness. Alright, now our light's hitting here. So we're going to highlight this side of this leaf. We're going to highlight like the middle. We're going to pretend this leaf is kind of rounding. Do that, the top side of that one. And kind of in the center there. Let's see. Get our light hitting here. And here. And here. And just a little bit on this one. Okay, light's hitting real good on this one. Okay, and that's our highlights. We're done. Okay, now we have actually got all of our base color on. Now we're going to do our fill-in with our red, which is the neon red. And the thing I want you to watch on this, be sure you catch the edges of your plate with 3 whole coats of this. Now notice too, I have thinned this down already. That's the consistency I like to work with. Okay, and I'm going to use that medium brush again. Alright, now I got it in the water. I'm going to rake off what water I can, but I am not going to squeeze it out. Okay, and I'll load up my brush really good. See it? And just knock off just enough to keep it from dripping. And then we're going to do our edges. And you don't have to come close to the leaves. If you overlap somewhere, it's no big deal. Okay, I'm going in between the leaves. Now this honestly will be pretty. It looks awkward now, but having white showing in between a little bit here and there is actually pretty. Kind of brightens up the design. Now be sure to keep your paint going so that it's loose and flowing, and don't run dry. That is just ugly. Okay, here I'm going in between the grapes and my leaves. I don't want to blot out too much of my grapes. And I want my leaves to stay good and green. Usually while I'm doing this, by the time I get all the way around the plate, that's leaf here. We've got some in the center here. But usually by the time I get around to where I started, it's already starting to dry, so I'll go ahead and put on that second coat. Sometimes I have to wait, though, to put the third coat on. But for this color, I make sure I got the third coat, because if you really look at it, you've got 3 coats here, you've got 3 coats here. In some places, maybe you don't. That's alright. It'll look kind of translucent in those spots. It'll all blend together. Need a little bit more. Coming. Okay. There's so many patterns I could teach you guys. And I will. I'll keep going. I'll develop some more of them, keep teaching them, keep doing the videos. But, you know, only as long as there's an interest for it. If there's not an interest for it, then why am I wasting my time, you know? Okay. Now, this is for demonstration only, so, whoops, I need to get the rest of my paint back in my jar here. So I'm not going to worry about that third coat, but you do. Now, with the exception of the black lining and, you know, doing our outlining, you're finished. The final step is to turn it over before you start your black lines, really. Just turn it over, do one large leaf in the center, fill in with the red. Don't forget to sign your work. Sometimes date it. Always sign your work. But that's it on the paint job. Now you see, it doesn't look like anything, but when you get done with the black lining, it most definitely does. You see, it's the black lines that brought the picture together. Okay, guys, I totally forgot something. I want to take my forest green. I should have done this before I painted the red on. Should have done it while I had the forest green out. Nothing wrong with me. But here's what I should have done. Okay. Just do a line in between your leaves. And you'll see why. That's it. I mean, that was all. And I forgot to put that in there. Very good, Judy.